Okay, I have 6:01. I have a quorum right here. So we are going to roll call into this meeting. Oh, there's Maren. Hello. Okay, so we are going to do a roll call in. Jonathan?
Jonathan Smith here.
Lori?
Laurie Garcia here.
Marissa?
Marissa Carreri here.
Maren?
Maren Goldstein here.
Shannon?
Sharon Dunham here.
And Cindy Kwasinski here. The mayor will be joining us later on during this meeting. So welcome to the August 10th school committee meeting. We're going to be doing it a little bit differently. If you saw the agenda, we are going to start right away with public speak. It is only going to run for 25 minutes. At 6:30, we are going to immediately work on the safety guidelines for the fall. And that will be for about, I'm going to say 6:30 to 7. And then we will be taking a vote, and then we will go on with the regular part of the meeting. If many people want to talk, we are still going to cut this off at 6:30 because we need to get one piece in. But then I can reopen if there's still a few people who want to talk for 15 more minutes. I can reopen public speak to let people weigh in. Okay, so I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So I'm going to ask that we open public speak, and if you would like to speak, please say who you are and limit your comments to 3 minutes. And make sure that we see you. I am going to be watching, and we will be stopping at 6:30 exactly. All right, so anybody who would like to speak right now, please signal, and Marissa and I will be scanning through and trying to recognize anybody. Right now, I'm not seeing anybody. All right, this is the time for public speak. I'm going to keep repeating that for a couple minutes. If there's anybody who is interested, we are not going to start the draft piece until 6:30. So we'll go on with our other business. We're going to be kind of flipping the agenda around. So I'm going to look for a couple more minutes to see if anybody wants to say anything. And then we will go on with discussion portion of the agenda. I'm looking. All right. Okay, it does not appear as though anybody wants to speak tonight. So we are going to go on with the discussion portion of the agenda. Do you want to announce the next meetings, Dr. Leclerc? Would you like me to do that?
You can go ahead and do that.
Okay, I'm going to close public speak. We're going to go on. And our next meetings are August 24th, September 21st, October 12th, October 26th, November 9th, and December 14th. Correspondence. Do we have correspondence, Marissa?
We do. So from Tracy Durant, expressing support for universal masking, including outside distancing, outdoor lunches, pool testing, and notification to the whole school community of any positive cases. From Lara Machia, expressing support for indoor masking, but allowing kids to be unmasked outdoors and for recess, as well as for parents who are picking up and dropping off outside. From Lisa Mahone, support for universal masking, outdoor lunch, distancing, and pooled testing. From Carrie Wessel, support for universal masking. Sonia Oppenheim, support for universal masking. From Ed and Juliet Moores, support for universal masking. From Catherine Sandler, expressing concern about negative effects on children due to masking, and requesting permission for kids to remove masks when social distancing, when outside, or when participating in physical activity. From Tim and Angela St. John, expressing support for mandatory universal masking. From Jean Libby, also support for mandatory masking, weekly surveillance testing, outdoor lunches, and social distancing. And finally, from Evan Zemer, also support for universal masking, including outside, pool testing, and increased transparency from the district about safety measures and protocols.
Thank you.
That's our correspondence. Thank you.
Do we have gifts?
I don't believe we have any gifts.
I have 3 listed.
You have 3?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Where? Oh, in my other packet here. Sorry, let me open that up. So sorry, Cindy. I'm scrolling and
okay.
scrolling and not finding them in the packet that I had downloaded. I'm not quite sure where I stuck them.
Okay. Do you have it with what Sue sent you?
I'm looking there right now.
Okay.
Is this something? Oh, wait, hold on. Is that it there? No.
Should be right on the agenda.
I can read them if you want me to.
That would be fantastic. Thank you. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Okay, gifts. We have Marilyn Greco. Thank you for the monetary donation to the summer program. And we also have a donation in honor of the Easthampton High School retired English teacher, Joan Bonsignor, for the amount of $2,600 to be used for 10 scholarships of $200 a year for 10 years. Thank you for that donation. And the third donation is from Carolyn Scheel of Scheel Farms for the donation of plants for the Easthampton High School graduation stage. Thank you to Carolyn.
Thank you so much, Superintendent. I was looking in the packet and not on the agenda itself. So I would make a motion to accept with deep gratitude all 3 of these gifts.
I'd like to second that motion.
Right. So Jonathan,
Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Lori,
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Marissa,
Marissa Crary, aye.
Maren,
Aaron Goldstein, aye.
Shannon,
Shannon Dunham, aye. Thank you.
and Cindy Kuzensky, aye. And thank you again. All righty. Policy Subcommittee update. Do we have one?
The only update that I have is that I'm trying to schedule a meeting, hopefully next week, to go over the new face mask policy that MASC put out today, so that we can have it on our next agenda to vote on.
Okay. And Maren, Finance Subcommittee?
No, we will be meeting next Tuesday at 4:15. That should be posted already today or tomorrow if it's not yet.
Yeah. All right. And Jonathan, do we have anything from the collaborative?
Sorry. I'm not going to say a whole lot. We did meet at the end of June. It was mostly kind of like a housekeeping meeting with the budget and whatnot. We're scheduled to meet again at the end of September. The one thing I will say, just because I know it's relevant to a future conversation, is we had a presentation from folks from the Heck Academy. It's one of the substantially separate programs that they run, and a student there did a project essentially researching the benefits of a later start time for their high school students, and Heck Academy has decided to move forward, taking that student's recommendations to, based off of the findings that they came across, to go ahead with that later start time. So I just wanted to throw that out there as we ponder the same conversation over the next year or so.
Do you know what time they're going to start?
You would ask me that. It was pretty well in line with, I think, some of what we were looking at. They didn't have younger students to also sort of flip-flop with. So I'm sorry to say I don't know off the top of my head exactly what the time was, but I think it was fairly similar to what we're seeing happen in other places.
Okay, thank you. Lori, do we have a wellness update?
No, sorry. Although we are moving forward with the bike rodeo, that's very exciting. And I'll be able to announce the exact date of that hopefully at our next meeting, but it is being planned.
Okay, all right, thank you. Dr. Leclerc, do you want to do your superintendent update without the draft safety guidelines?
Sure, I can just navigate you. The other agenda item I had for this evening was around the superintendent evaluation. So I can just take a
Yep.
few minutes and
That sounds
navigate
great.
everyone to that. Do I have the ability to share my screen?
We can make it so. Yep, you do now.
Okay. So. Let me. I just wanted to get the right thing up. So the superintendent evaluation is taking place again, and just to navigate everyone, I have a folder that has several subfolders in it, and I've just shared this electronically with the committee. And I will just point out to you, the evaluation tool is in there. I know it's been sent to you already a few different ways, but I thought I would just house it in the folder. So it's here, and I've put the goals in that were approved. I put those in. I highlighted the areas for each standard, because in the state of Massachusetts last year, the Department of Education recommended that we kind of dial back the evaluation tool for everyone, for teachers, for administrators, for the superintendent. So they came up with what they described as focus indicators. And you chose to adopt those last November, and we in turn chose to adopt those for our own staff, just because there were so many other things going on this past year. So this is streamlined. So really, you can certainly evaluate me in every indicator, but these are the primary indicators that are highlighted that were agreed upon. So that document is there. And then I also had some kind of standalone documents that are here, including my goals, some backwards planning for the new school. These documents have to do with addressing some of the work I've done around my goals. And then I've also identified there's subfolders for each standard. And then if you click on that, there are examples in there. Certainly not all, but I just gave you a little dabble. I mean, I think that we met so much last year. You probably have an abundance of information to evaluate me on, so I didn't feel that it was necessary to put copious number of documents in there, but certainly if you find that you're missing something in an area that you'd like to delve deeper into, I can provide more evidence, but I tried to provide just a small sample in each one.
Can I stop you right there for 1 second? You said that the committee could evaluate you on the other indicators. My sense was that we had decided that we would follow the highlighted indicators only. So it's my understanding that those are the only ones we will be working on. It was a crazy year and a half, and that was our target and our focus. So I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
I don't remember anything else about giving us the leeway to do other pieces, just the ones you highlighted.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I
And
just
so
wanted to
those-
kind of clear that up.
Those focus indicators for people that are not in the education field, an educator like myself or a classroom teacher, we would have standards and indicators in all 4 areas of the Department of Education evaluation tool. We still do, even with the streamlined version. So I have standards 1 through 4. They've just, instead of like being 12 indicators under each standard, there are now just like 1 or 2, just for this past year. I don't know. I think they're actually doing it again this year, actually. So I've just given you a sample of things, and I shared that folder with you to help you do your work. I would suggest for the evaluation tool, you might want to make your own copy, because otherwise, if you start working on the copy and other people are in the same document, it's going to get everyone messed up. So you might want to make your own copy of this tool. And happy to answer any questions.
Shannon?
This question actually isn't for Allison. I'm sorry, I asked a question on an email regarding a survey that I asked be submitted to us prior to this evaluation, and that was never done. I don't honestly feel comfortable filling out this evaluation form until I have that information that I asked for. What do I need to do?
Do you want to answer that one, Allison?
I don't think Shannon was directing that at me. Were you directing that at me, Shannon?
It was more to Cindy, but
So my understanding is that surveys were done away with for this year by the state. And so they were not given to anybody before the end of the school year. So they are not to be part of the evaluation for this year. That was a decision made by DESE. Am I
nobody
correct?
sent that to me at any time.
I did. I responded that.
I didn't get it.
She did.
I sent an email to you. I replied off. I think I gave that as information.
Yes, you did.
I
Okay,
saw it,
thank
yeah.
you.
I have a question, just because I also sent an email to everyone, and I didn't hear back from other people. And I know that Allison, you just put this on, I believe, yesterday. I want to make sure that this is something that we can make a copy of and manipulate, because the original form we got was a PDF that couldn't be done. So everyone's aware of my travels and the inability to get it done before. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, that I did try and it was impossible. Did anyone actually go onto that form and it can be saved? That was just sent.
I did not try it. I printed. So I just printed a hard copy for myself.
There
Okay.
was one shared within the past few days. It looks like it's the same as what Allison just put in her folder. It was like a standalone Word document that I believe could be edited, although the formatting's a little wonky. But I saw that in the past couple of days.
Okay, so it's the original link that Sue had sent that was just to DESE's website with the form. That form was just a PDF, that it was impossible to manipulate. So I just wanted to make sure that that is there and just bring it to people's attention that it can't be done by the date that it was expected to be done.
I'm seeing one that's a docx, so I'll forward that to you.
Okay,
That would be helpful. Thank you, Marissa.
thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Okay, well, thank you. Dr. Leclerc, did you have anything else you wanted to share about the evaluation before we move on?
No, I think I'm all set.
Okay, one thing I did not announce at the beginning was that we will be adjourning from an executive session. We're going to roll call into an executive session after this to discuss bargaining with the union. So we will be adjourning from that executive session. Okay, we still have a tiny bit more time, so I think it would be important for us to do the matters for action. Okay, and that should buy us enough time, and then we can start that safety guidelines.
Okay, very good. So are we ready? We have a lot of these.
Yep.
Okay. Motion to approve the school payroll dated 6/17/2021 in the amount of $1,106,958.03.
I second that.
Jonathan,
Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Lori,
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Maren,
Aaron Goldstein, aye.
Marissa,
Marissa Carey, aye.
Shannon,
Shannon Dunham, aye.
and Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Motion to approve accounts payable authorization for payment dated 6/17/2021 in the amount of $424,504.53.
I second that.
Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Lori,
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Maren,
Aaron Goldstein, aye.
Marissa,
Marissa Carey, aye.
Shannon,
Shannon Dunham, aye.
and Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Motion to approve accounts payable authorization for payment dated 6/24/2021 in the amount of $11,685.00.
I second that.
Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Aaron Goldstein, aye.
Marissa Carey, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Motion to approve school payroll dated 7/1/2021 in the amount of $412,697.70.
I second that.
Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Maren,
Aaron Goldstein, aye.
Marissa Carey, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Motion to approve accounts payable authorization for payment dated 6/30/2021 in the amount of $430,463.70.
I'll second.
Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
I second that.
Lori, you just froze.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
There you
Aaron
go.
Goldstein, aye.
Marissa,
Laurie
Marissa
Garcia,
Carey,
aye. If you didn't hear it, sorry.
we did. We got it now. Thank you, Lori.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Okay. And Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Sorry, there's so many. Motion to approve school payroll dated 7/15/2021 in the amount of $376,722.60.
I'll second that. Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Aaron Goldstein, aye.
Marissa Curry, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Motion to approve school payroll dated 7/29/2021 in the amount of $394,189.83.
I'll second that. Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Aaron Goldstein, aye.
Marissa Curry, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Motion to approve accounts payable authorization for payment dated 8/5/2021 in the amount of $264,478.46.
I'll second that. Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Aaron Goldstein, aye.
Marissa Curry, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Motion to approve negotiation session minutes for the following meetings with the stipulation to withhold until matters are resolved. July 20, 2021, June 14, 2021 prep meeting, June 14, 2021, June 9, 2021, June 2, May 26 of 2021, November 17, 2020, November 11, 2020, November 4, 2020, and October 30, 2020.
I'll second that. Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Aaron Goldstein, aye.
Marissa Curry, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Motion to approve executive session minutes for June 8, 2021 with a stipulation to withhold until matters are resolved.
I'll second that. Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Aaron Goldstein, aye.
Marissa Curry, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Motion to approve the minutes of the June 8, 2021 regular meeting.
I'll second that. Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Lori?
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Maren Goldstein, aye.
Marissa Carey, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Motion to approve executive session minutes for May 25, 2021 with the stipulation to withhold until matters are resolved.
I'll second that. Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Maren Goldstein, aye.
Marissa Carey, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Motion to approve the minutes of the May 25, 2021 regular meeting.
Second that. Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Maren?
Maren Goldstein, aye.
Marissa Carey, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Cindy Kuzensky, aye. We're almost done.
Only 3 to go. Motion to approve the minutes of the November 17, 2020 COVID emergency meeting.
Second that. Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Maren Goldstein, aye.
Marissa Carey, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Motion to approve the minutes of the October 27, 2020 regular meeting.
I'll second that. Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Maren Goldstein, aye.
Marissa Carey, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Cindy Kuzensky, aye.
Finally, motion to approve the executive session minutes for October 27, 2020 with the stipulation to withhold until matters are resolved.
I'll second that. Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Maren?
Maren Goldstein, aye. I apologize.
That's okay.
Marissa Carey, aye.
Shannon Dunham, aye.
And Cindy Kuzensky, aye. Awesome. So we have 3 minutes left. Do we have anything in other that someone would like to weigh in on for 3 minutes? The mayor's here trying to fix video. So we can give a little time. Does anybody want to have anything for other? Shannon?
I just wanted to ask in regards to the meal program, Allison, you had sent out an email stating that the program was extended through June 2022. And I was curious, and I think a few parents are as well. There's a date been thrown out of 8/20. Is Chartwell's taking another break between the end of the summer and the beginning of the school year?
I have not heard that date at all, Shannon. I don't believe they are. If
I think it
someone
was for parents of children under 5.
I have not heard that date at all, Shannon. So if you have any information,
Okay, I will.
I'm happy to speak to the business manager tomorrow.
So is the summer program, is it going through the beginning of the school year? Like, are we going to go straight through?
I believe it will. Yes.
Okay. The other thing is,
I'll double check and let you know tomorrow.
okay. The program that's being provided, is it still 0 through 18, any child? Like, will parents of children under 5 still be able to pick up at the high school?
Yes.
They will. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Okay, because the mayor can only stay for a short period of time, let's continue with other afterwards. And let's begin with the safety guidelines. And I thank you, Mayor, for being able to be here.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Chairwoman. Thank you.
Dr. Leclerc?
Yeah, thank you. So I sent out a message to families yesterday to let them know what we were thinking, but I want to give a little bit more specific information and clarify things a little bit for families this evening. So the guidance that I'm going to share with you this evening was developed in collaboration with the city Board of Health Director and the city public health nurse, and with the president of the teachers union, and some various administrators that we had with us as well. The guidelines that I'm going to be sharing with you this evening are really for the beginning of school. And I want to say that again. I don't want to let people think that what we decide this evening is in place for the rest of the year. We are taking in information, and as new information becomes available, and we continue to watch the science, the trends, we will adjust accordingly. So we are committed at the district level to meet on a monthly basis with the city health department to review the data. Based on their recommendation, our public health nurse, Amy Hart, said to us, you're not really going to see shifts in data from one week to the next because sometimes they don't get the information until a few days later. Or, there might be several cases that happen on a weekend, but it doesn't get to be part of the count that Massachusetts reports out on. So for that reason, she really recommended 1 month at a time. So that's just all background information that I wanted to share with you. And I want to also let the public know that for myself, and I'll only speak for myself, not for the committee, my ultimate goal is to keep schools open and to keep everyone safe, to keep children safe and to keep adults safe. And that was the thinking behind the recommendation that I have for you this evening. So in speaking with the Board of Health, the City Health Director, she shared some information with me that I want to also share with you. 25% of recent cases in Easthampton have occurred in children 5 to 12 years old. 59% of our 12 to 15-year-olds are fully vaccinated, and 72% of our high school age children, 16 to 19, are fully vaccinated in Easthampton. Those are our Easthampton statistics. 75% of the recent cases in Provincetown, Mass, occurred in vaccinated adults. Many of our students, many in our school community have valid reasons to mask, such as whether they're vaccinated or not, and we do not want to create an equity issue. People may have immune compromised systems, or their families might have immune compromise. Someone in their family might be immunocompromised. So we don't want to create a situation right off the bat where some children might feel bad because they have to mask, because it may be beyond their control. 50% of the most recent cases in Easthampton occurred in fully vaccinated adults. And the health director wanted me to relay to everyone that that's not a reason to not get the vaccine. Okay, I want to make sure people understand that in the cases that I've just relayed to you, the illness has not been as severe as it would have been if the individuals were not vaccinated. So we do feel that vaccination works. And I know that's a political thing. I don't want to open up that can of worms. But I just want to say that that was the information shared with me. Now, the other piece of information that I relied on was CDC, which this group relied on quite a bit last year, and the American Academy of Pediatrics have both come out and recommended universal indoor masking for all teachers, staff, students, and visitors to K-12 schools, regardless of vaccination status. So that's CDC and American Academy of Pediatrics. Okay, so those are the pieces of information that went into this recommendation. So just to be clear for anyone tuning in that maybe did not attend last year, did not have children in the schools last year, we are fully in person this year. There is no remote school option. So we're fully in person. So my recommendation is to the committee for your review. Masks are required for all pre-K through 12 students and staff, regardless of vaccination status. Masks are required on buses And when entering nurses' offices, absolutely, no matter what. Masks will be required of all visitors, regardless of vaccination status. Masks are not going to be required outdoors or while eating. And again, this is with the support of the public health nurse and the city health director who sat down and drafted these with me. So at the current time, we are recommending vaccinations for children and adults 12 and up, but we are not mandating it. I want to say that we will be striving for 3-foot distancing whenever possible, because that's another layered mitigation strategy besides masking. Testing, we will continue to have pooled testing every week, and it is going to be supported through funds by the state of Massachusetts, I think through the federal government. Transportation, all the restrictions as far as the number of children on a bus have been lifted, but masking and open windows are still required. And I want to just say a few things just to clarify, because I know you're going to ask me about this. For lunch, we have mitigation strategies in place, and we are planning on having lunch indoors. I don't want to face the school year, because we're in New England, by letting people think that we're going to eat outside 180 days this school year. That's not realistic in New England. Each school will have an option to allow children to eat outside, but there will also be seating indoors. And what will look different from past years in the cafeteria is the seating will be 3 foot apart. Students will all be facing one direction. We may add an extra lunch wave. For those of you not in education, that means an extra seating so that we can have less students in a cafeteria area at a time. And we think by having some students meander outside to have lunch, have less students in the cafeteria, we also may utilize more space in the cafeteria. In one of our buildings, for example, they'll utilize like a hallway area to put extra tables. So we really are making a concerted effort to spread children out. They will be unmasked while they're eating. And then when they're finished, they'll put their mask back on and they can continue to converse with their friends at the tables. And I think I've covered everything that I wanted to, and I'll take questions or hear your concerns at this point.
Maren?
Yep. Sorry, just trying to get that muted and turned off. If you could just clarify a little bit about the pool testing.
Yep.
So to clarify a couple different pieces of it. First, if parents and students already signed up last year, are they automatically eligible, or do parents have to sign them up again starting the new school year, particularly if they change schools? And then also, what kind of campaign are we going to do, again, to really push and promote that in order to get pool testing a part of our schools?
Okay, so we have a pool, the state is running a pool testing webinar tomorrow that my people are listening to. There are new vendors that are in the mix. So to answer your question, I don't know the exact answer, but I would guess that people would need to sign up again, because I would not be surprised if we have a new vendor when we start the school year, because everything's changing. So I would say that people should be prepared to sign up, and we'll send out all that information. I think we ran a pretty hard campaign last year. We had Mrs. Wanamaker helped us, and she really put a lot of information out there for us. What I think held some people back is this. I think that some people were wary that if their child was identified as being positive for COVID or in a COVID pool, that they would have to quarantine for 14 days. And for some people, working families, that presented a hardship. There is another option this year for families that are unable to or don't want to have their child quarantined if they're just waiting for to find out if their child is positive or not. If the child has no symptoms, they can do what they're calling test and stay, which means that they'll have a rapid test every day and decide if they can stay at school. So I think that may help some families that, last year, I will say, we had a few positive pools and there was never a spread in school because our kids were masked all the time. It was the kids that ended up having COVID, got COVID from a family member. And so there was never any in-school transmission. And I know Megan Harvey's on the call, and she would probably say that we know of. But related to the pooled testing, related to the students that had to quarantine because they might have been in a positive pool, they be identified as close contacts. There was never any student that got COVID from being in school. So I think having the test and stay option will be attractive to some families that where both parents work.
And then just a follow up on that. So like you're saying, there's a test and stay, and there's no remote education option available this year based on the state's requirements. How would we deal with students who come down with COVID or end up with symptoms?
I think we would do similar to what we've done in the past with students that get the flu or anything else. Send work home, have, the teacher would email work or have work available for the parent to pick up or someone to bring home to the child.
Lori?
Hi, I appreciate your meeting with our Director of Health and other people that were on the COVID response team, and I totally support your statement for how school should start. However, I would like to ask that we do reconvene the COVID response team if things do change. And we do include our epidemiologist, Dr. Megan Ward Harvey, who has so graciously volunteered for our district. And it is helpful to have a member of the school committee present during those conversations. I am not asking to meet weekly again. Please, we don't need to do that. I'm not a glutton for punishment like that. But once again, I would ask that we do meet if necessary.
That was also going to be one of my questions is, are we going to reconvene that team? The mayor had her hand up.
Yes, thank you. My video is not doing so well. So one, I find the plan and the guidelines really thought out. Makes a lot of sense. It feels a whole bunch better this time around with a little bit of unfortunate experience under our belts, but was really glad to hear with masking, transportation could get a little more normal, and the idea of test and stay certainly, I think, makes a lot of difference and gives our students and our parents, our families, some consistency. Right now we have these guidelines. It's very clear what's going to happen. If X happens, then Y. They can prepare for what may happen. I also agree with the watching the numbers, always closely, but making decisions once a month. I think that at first I didn't really understand that about the guidelines, and then our public health nurse Amy kind of walked it through with me, and it does. Yes. Again, I think it's just a well thought out plan and gives our community as much as what's next as possible. So, great job, Superintendent Leclerc, really leading the charge on this. Beginning of school feels a whole lot better.
Thank you, Mayor.
Lori, did you have your hand up a second time, or was that already taken care of?
That was taken care of. Thank you, Laurie.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Marissa?
Hi, thank you. I also agree. I think that these plans and some of the changes, particularly around pool testing, make a lot of sense. So I'm glad to hear all those. I think, a lot of us were, all of us were hoping that this would be a year of recovery rather than sort of ongoing pandemic struggles. And so I know myself as a parent, and I know a lot of parents out there are really not only worried about the disease, but worried about helping our kids make up from such a lengthy stay out of the buildings. And so in addition to the safety protocols, I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about what it's going to look like for kids this year in terms of will they be able to do group work? Will they be able to use manipulatives? Are there things that will start to feel a little bit more like normal school, all those healthy social interactions that we know kids need, in addition to just wearing the masks that we know are really helpful in preventing transmission?
Yeah, so we've begun to talk about that. Well, I think Julianne has talked about it more than I have, but from a logistical standpoint, we are not bringing tables back into the classrooms for children to sit at all during the day. We're going to keep the desks because they can be separated more easily. But we are bringing back, I'll say at the elementary level, we're bringing back the kidney-shaped tables for the reading groups so that the teacher can have maybe 2 children up with her, and they can do that safely and comfortably. So some furniture is coming back in, but not a lot of the big tables. We might have had, I think in preschool, we had little round tables and the kids would all sit around the round tables. And now they have desks. And so we're doing that. We are continuing that because they're just easy to move. And if things, if rates go down lower, we can move them together. If they need to be further apart, we can move them further apart. So it just allows us more flexibility in our programming. So we've been working on that. And I know that at the schools, they've been working on some programming with the children, some programming for staff to help support them. So there'll be professional development a little bit at the beginning of school. We don't have a lot of PD at the beginning of this year. We saved most of our PD days for January when we transition the middle school students into the new school. So there'll be professional learning communities that are going on. We have at the elementary level, we have a professional learning community on social emotional learning. There is a core group of administrators and teachers that are taking part in a state level network around social emotional learning. So they're doing PD and training, and then they'll bring it back to the staffs. So there's a lot of different pockets of things going on that we can let you know about as the school year goes on.
Do you have a sense yet? Are we going to be sort of really containing kids into their single classroom, or will there be, will kids be going to the gym, going to the art room? Do we have a plan for music enrichment, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we are going to be planning on students having their regular schedule. We know from the CDC that, there's not really any identified spread on the fomites, the surfaces. But again, we'll continue to do excessive cleaning as we have in the past year. But we are going to be opening our gyms, opening our cafeterias, our music spaces, our art spaces. So students will be in those spaces. Just in an art room, they may be at individual desks instead of tables, for example.
Thank you.
Jonathan?
I really appreciate hearing about the efforts being made to prepare our educators to support the children in their social emotional health. I'd echo a lot of what folks have already said in terms of the planning that has gone into this. I appreciate that. My question is maybe more of a logistical one and maybe kind of minor in the grand scheme of things, but I recall last year the rapid tests that we had on hand were limited in number. We had acquired them with, I believe, some outside funding. And I wonder, based off of what you're describing, if we have a positive pool and most people in that pool want to take advantage of the rapid test to keep their students in school, do you plan on kind of using a lot of those? Do you see, like, do we have, I guess, have we upped our supply based off of what we had last year?
Yes, and testing is much more readily available now. So we do have the Binax, it's the Binax Now test, it's a rapid test, and we do have that available in all our schools.
Shannon, I think you had your hand up a minute ago.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here reading the new policy, and I'm sure you guys haven't had a chance to look at it. But Allison, are there going to be any exceptions to everyone in the building wearing masks? You know, perhaps students with IEPs or things
We
like that
always
when we're
have-
doing one-on-one.
Yeah, there's always an exception for a student that is significantly disabled and unable to wear a mask. And, you know, I will say last year that just about everyone in our building, even our severely disabled children, were able to learn to wear a mask. But again, some students, because of compromised immune systems, may have had to stay home last year. So we may not have seen everyone, but there is the option of having students that have severe disabilities not have to wear a mask. And our teachers would have extra protection.
Okay. The other question I had was in regards to, I don't remember, I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank. If I think of it, I'll let you know. Thank you.
Anybody else? I really like the work that was done. I think we've learned a lot about how to operate school. Unfortunately, we've learned a lot. This last year was a really hard year for everybody. And I was really hoping, as Marissa, and I'm sure everybody would agree, that we were hoping we would not be here to start school. But I really think that if we are going to get kids in the building and teachers in the building and staff in the building and keep them there, that these are the safety measures that we have to have. And what I do know is that, you know, if we've learned nothing from last year, we've learned that things change quickly. And I think we did a really nice job last year of keeping our eye out and being aware of everything that was going on and changing accordingly. So I feel really confident that we can do the best job we can. And hopefully this will be our last year of having to do this kind of moving every 2 seconds and changing our plans. So I really like this. Are there any more questions? Okay, so would someone like to make a motion to approve these guidelines, and then we'll take a vote?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the guidelines as presented by Superintendent Leclerc.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, then we will do a roll call vote. Mayor LaChapelle?
Aye.
Shannon?
Shannon Dunham, aye.
Jonathan?
Jonathan Schmidt, aye.
Lori?
Laurie Garcia, aye.
Maren?
Maren Goldstein, aye.
Marissa?
Marissa Perry, aye.
And Cindy Kuzensky, aye. And thank you, Dr. Leclerc, for all the work that you and your team did. I know you had a number of people weigh in on this, and I think it turned out to be a really quality plan for safety. So I thank you.
Thank you.
I'll keep my fingers crossed that it all works. Anybody else? Okay, so we've done the most important thing. We've looked at that safety guidelines. We've done everything else except to go back to other. And before we go back to other, Shannon, I did find the date that I responded. So if you look at August 4th, that was the day that I responded about surveys, just in case you're looking for it.
Yes, thank you very much. So on my phone, it buries itself into other
Yep.
correspondence with the same title.
Absolutely.
And it was buried in there. I apologize.
Absolutely. That's okay. That's okay. I just want to make sure you could find it. Do we have anything under other?
Yeah, so I'm going to speak up. So I want to take this opportunity to let everyone know, after a great deal of internal strife and deliberation, I've opted to not run for re-election this year. So I will be stepping off the committee at the end of this year. I'm very much not leaving the world of education, and I have other projects that I've begun work on over the past year that have simply pulled me in too many different directions, and I feel as though I can't give my best to you and to the families, and that's not fair. And I find myself, truth be told, a little overwhelmed, and that's not entirely fair to myself. So I assure you, I will continue to work alongside you and encounter many of you out in the city and our community. And yeah, I just want to let you all know, and people out there listening, please run. We need, we have, as we've discussed here recently, once again, another challenging year ahead of us, and I'm willing to bet it won't be over by December. So please, there's important work to be done, and I hope some folks will step up. Thanks.
Thank you. I can tell you, Marissa and you are going to be greatly missed. And I'm going to thank you way in advance for all the hard work. You guys have done a phenomenal job, and we totally understand and respect your decision. We will miss you, though.
Oh, thank you. I will miss all of you as well. Until I see you again somewhere.
That's right. Hopefully. Anybody else? And nothing else under other. All right. Well, then it is time to have a motion to roll call. We don't need a motion. We're just going to roll call into executive session. And we will not be returning. We will adjourn from executive session, okay? So Lori?
Laurie Garcia.
Jonathan?
Jonathan Schmidt.
Maren?
Aaron Goldstein.
Marissa?
Marissa Craig.
Shannon?
Shannon Dunham.
I believe the mayor has already had to leave. I'm just gonna, okay, so I think the mayor, she was supposed to have to leave at 7. So Cindy Kwasinski, we are adjourning and going straight into executive session. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe.